Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Stacey.
And I'm your co-host, Sarah.
When I first heard of this first story, I was like, this is Gilmore Girls. It felt like a very Stars Hollow thing to do.
It does, yes, I agree.
But it's evidently not the only town that does this.
No, I've heard of it before.
And I'm just like, why doesn't my town do this? But my town's maybe too big and not weird enough.
Yeah, I think.
Not weird enough in a quirky sort of way.
And probably has different laws.
Well, and actually probably needs a mayor who actually does something.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, this is a town in Michigan, a village in Michigan.
There's the key word, village right there.
Village. Starts all no, okay. I'm going to go with Omena.
That's
Omena?
The way it looks, Omena.
Omena.
Omen just sounds like, omen in the female form. Just put an A on the end.
Sure. Has inaugurated their new mayor, a cat named Sweet Tart.
Although the cat comes with experience.
It was, yes. It was previously the village's vice mayor.
I've heard of this before with cats or with dogs, or, and obviously maybe not obviously, but I'm going to assume, which you should never do, that the office of mayor doesn't actually have any
thing to do in a
duties assigned to it. Yeah, I mean,
well, I love how they were like, it wouldn't have too many administrative tasks and is not required to be able to write. Like we're fine. It can use its paw print to sign documents.
Not have too many administrative
only
tasks, just a few.
But yeah, so I love also that Sweetheart won against another cat, 13 dogs, a peacock, a goat, and a chicken.
I know. 13 dogs, though. I mean, that was their problem. There were too many. The dog contingent
they split the vote. Yeah,
they split the vote.
And so all of the other candidates were awarded positions on the village council. I tried very hard to find if there was any actual need for any administrative person in this village whatsoever, and I couldn't figure out if there was actually anything anyone would ever do.
Is so the plot for a cozy mystery.
Oh, who kidnapped the mayor
or something? I mean, I would have voted for the goat.
I would have voted for the peacock, just because.
Fancier.
Could you imagine? No other town's mayor would look as cool as our mayor.
That's true.
Actually, there was a peacock family at the place where I work.
Awesome.
When I first saw it, I thought I was going crazy because it was sitting. The male was sitting on a pole, as I guess peacocks are wont to do. I'm still confused as to how peacocks roost, but evidently they do. And I was like, I took a picture and texted it to my friend. I was like, "You're seeing this, right? This is at my work. You see this?" And then she's like, "Yeah, oh wow." And
they're very noisy.
See, these ones aren't too bad.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't even know till a week later that there is actually a female and 3 baby peacocks.
Aw, babies.
And I have no idea where they just sort of wander around in between the bushes, and I always keep stumbling upon them, and then I'm entranced but also sort of terrified because don't get between a mother and her babies. But I'm just like, what?
Getting back to our story, not that I don't like your story because that's weird awesome.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a picture of Sweet Tart, the new mayor, in a tiara.
As you would do.
You would, of course, she would need a tiara.
She also needs a scepter. Get on that, Omena.
That's true.
Omena, however you pronounce that village. But so this was a
280 people in that town. That's partly why they don't really probably need a full-time actual mayor.
Yes. So they've actually had an animal mayor for the last decade, And they do this by anyone can nominate their animal so long as the person, I think, lives in the village or similar. And you can cast a vote via a $1 donation.
Oh, nice.
And then the donation goes to the local historical society, and that's how they raise funds.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, and I mean, you're a village of 280 people. You probably don't need a mayor, so you might as well have some kooky way to raise money.
Can you vote more than once?
You
because
can.
There, 280 people. Those are adults and children, so it's not like everyone can vote. Maybe everyone can vote.
Well, actually, there was one of the officials in charge of this election. I'm having a hard time.
What kind of an animal was that?
No, an actual human said that, it was hard to track because some of the votes were done via PayPal. And so you didn't even have to be in the village to do it.
Nice.
And since this has, been a story before on the internet, people have found out about it. And so voted. Is that voter fraud? I don't know what to do with this. I can't.
Oh, the vice mayor now is a dog. So
okay.
That's nice that you'll have some dissenting opinions on the council.
Well, I would really love to hear the council discussions between 2 cats, 13 dogs, a goat, a peacock, and a chicken.
Well, okay, here's Sweet Tart will hold the role of mayor until 2021.
Right.
She will be aided by first vice mayor Diablo Shapiro the dog, second vice mayor Pumpkin Anderson Harden. I love that Pumpkin's name is hyphenated. Anderson Harden the dog, press secretary Harley Jones the goat, and special assistant for foul issues Penny Labriola the chicken. They had to make up a position for Penny Labriola.
And people of this village, I love you.
You're awesome.
Solely for even having these positions, but then also for the names you give your animals. I cannot even.
Yes. And there were more than 7,000 votes. So clearly
people voted more than once, obviously.
This is awesome. I do want to know what happened to the other 11 dogs. They don't seem to, do they have honorary positions?
They're just council members.
Yeah.
They don't have titles.
Council members at large.
Council members at large. Now I wonder, if this town had a dog catcher, what would that be? Administrative wrangler, official wrangler.
Yeah.
Secret Service.
Does the dog say, "Excuse me, do you not know who I am?"
Right. All the just wonderful, ridiculous stories you could create with this are now just flowing through my head.
Awesome.
I don't even know what that would be. It's not fan fiction and it's not quite a meme, but I need more of it. So someone please get on that and send it to me.
It would make a fabulous children's book.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it probably is somewhere. And just what would be the issues of the day? Someone keeps stealing the chicken's eggs or
right, exactly.
Oh my gosh. It's so weird always to me when they anthropomorphize animals. Is that a word? I'm
yes,
going with that
it
word.
Is. Yes.
Because when you stop and think about it, it doesn't quite always make sense. Technically, Donald Duck is walking around with no pants.
Yeah. Yeah. And Goofy's a dog. Pluto's also a dog, but right. Pluto's a pet and Goofy's not.
There's, the hierarchy issue there, what's going on. Just so many things.
Right. Animals using their wings as arms, birds using their wings as arms when that technically is the wrong way to bend.
Wait, what?
Whenever a bird is
oh yeah,
they always use their wings like arms, but that's backwards.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking of when Little John dances with the chicken in the Disney cartoon Robin Hood, and I've seen that scene a number of times because someone pointed out that Disney reused their animated scene, so that's exactly the same as Baloo dancing with King Louie.
It is,
but now I'm thinking of the chicken's arm, wings, whatever, whatever in that, and yeah, they do actually bend them up. I never thought of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Why do we feel the need to anthropomorphize animals?
Because we anthropomorphize everything.
Do we? I mean,
we tend to.
Yeah. I always thought when I was younger, I thought cars were evil machine bullfrogs.
Wow.
Well, because
of the eye, or because the headlights.
So, especially from the back. Because the front was the good side, and I'm saying probably way too much about my thoughts here. And the back was the bad side because their eyes were red. But because, you have the bumper on the back below the trunk, it made it look like a bullfrog somehow to me.
Oh, little Stacy makes me happy.
It was, the evil bullfrog was always trying to drive the car, but the good bullfrog won most of the time.
Go, good bullfrog.
I don't know where that thought even came from, but yeah, that's what I thought of as
like
as a child. That should also be a children's book.
Yes.
The Battle of the Bullfrogs.
It even has a title already.
It does, yes. So on that note, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. I think it's so strange that we ended that last segment talking about, pantless animals. And
it's a good segue.
Because
whether you plan it or not.
I really did not plan it. It was really just about animals. But in in New Hampshire, a Massachusetts man, because you can do this on the East Coast, whereas in California, it would probably be a California person. A Massachusetts man was arrested at a New Hampshire Planet Fitness for working out naked.
Why?
I mean,
Why?
On the one hand, I get it depends on what his thought process was, whether or not I'm like, okay, I get it. If you were trying to be snarky, or if you actually thought this was okay, then I'm like, why?
If you want to work out naked, do so at home, please.
Yeah. So,
especially when he's doing yoga.
I mean,
nobody needs... No.
I think I'd rather him be doing yoga than, jogging on a treadmill.
Well, there's the bounce factor, but think of all the positions that yoga would give you angles of different various... No.
Also, that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he evidently walked into the Planet Fitness, unclothed himself at the front desk.
Oh, he walked in not naked.
No, not naked. Took his clothes off there. Walked over to the yoga mats and decided to start doing naked yoga.
Was he high?
It has not been made clear if he was on anything whatsoever.
See, now I just think of that episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte gets married for the second time and her husband's wandering around the house naked, and he finally says, "Oh, I see. We have a naked ass on a white couch issue here, don't we?" And
wow.
She was like, "Yeah." And then he sat on newspaper. But
yeah, that makes it better.
At least that was in the privacy of their home.
Yeah. And also, anyways.
Yeah. And not real.
Yeah. But so when he was arrested, he evidently told police that he thought Planet Fitness was a quote-unquote judgment-free zone. which is, again, makes me think maybe he was being snarky. Like, you went in to be a sarcastic jerk? I don't quite know were you serious or not, man? Like, did you plan to be arrested, or you actually thought you could work out naked?
And if you were doing this as some kind of a protest, you really need a better something to be protesting.
Right, why are you protesting Planet Fitness?
Who cares? And if you're protesting that it's a quote-unquote judgment-free zone and maybe you were judged, I mean, there's got to be a better way for this.
Just go work out in a Speedo.
Yeah, that's...
Technically, you're in clothing, but it's a judgment-free zone, and where's the line between, properly clothed and workout gear? Because some of those workout gears doesn't seem like much.
And, the amount of yoga pants that are see-through anymore.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could have done this in a not naked way. Just saying. But, yeah, the people at the gym were not pleased. They're from, disgusted to afraid. Which I can kind of understand, because if someone walks into a gym and starts taking off their clothes and doing, you have no idea what that person's going to do.
Right.
Like, they could do anything at that point. They're clearly, not following any sort of societal rules. So it's just like, should I get out of here right away? What is going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, just lots of strange body stories, as tends to happen. Mm-hmm. Because the human body is strange. I don't know.
And humans are strange.
They are most definitely, yes. Although, again, I like companies and subway people that sort of run with the program when the program changes.
Yes.
So I actually like this next story where in Vienna, Austria, the temperatures on the subway reached 95 degrees, which I did not think was possible in, most of Europe, period.
But it says on the subway line, so maybe the AC wasn't working inside, and so the
all the people
inside of the car was
Although
like
when I first read this, I'm like 95 degrees. That's nothing.
It's that right now,
right? It is over 100 regularly here, but in a subway car, that would probably really suck.
I'm surprised it wasn't more than that if it was crowded.
Yeah. So the subway operators started giving riders deodorant.
Oh,
which I mean.
That could be very kind or also snarky, depending on how you want to look at it.
I think most riders would probably be like, "Oh, thank you," and I will hurt anyone who does not use the deodorant.
Thank
Everyone must use it.
And my neighbor is going to use it too.
Because people have who ride public transportation have thought that before. Of like, man,
yeah.
Just, why can't you need to get sprayed with deodorant before you can get on or something?
Or Lysol or something.
Like, rather than, the body scanners they have at the airport, you have to
go through a Lysol mister.
A discontamination of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this turned a little, not even violent, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
In that passengers evidently started, tearing the deodorant out of the workers' hands.
Why?
I don't know. I cannot figure that out.
It's like they started rioting.
Right, and I'm tempted to say this is not so much for the deodorant as for it's free.
Well, right.
And people will react very strongly to free things, even if it's not anything you're like, oh my gosh, I must have.
But come
5
on, people,
minutes ago.
it's deodorant in it,
I mean, or
and probably not expensive deodorant if the subway, bought it to hand out en masse.
Yeah, and that one subway, I want to know, how, if this subway line is out of order or something, to the point that they went out and bought a bunch of deodorants to give out. Because if it was just, one day,
right,
it was like, well, they'll have to deal with it. Is this a thing that's been going on for a while? Is it this subway line never has air conditioning? This is a really ridiculous heat wave in Vienna? I don't quite know.
Though, I'm going to look up the average temperature in Vienna because I'm curious now.
And then look up the record temperature because those are always very interesting. I think around here, the record high was 128 or something. And I was
Lord.
what? That should not be physically possible. What the heck?
Yeah, somebody posted the other day that it was going to be 108 where they lived and that it was a record high. And I was like, oh, but it's going to be 108 here supposedly next week anyway. Yeah.
It's not a record high. It's not a normal high, but it's not a record high either. I have totally seen it into the 1 teens, and I'm sad to say that. That makes that...
Okay, so average in July and August, high of 81, low of 65, 64. Right around there. That sounds lovely.
It sounds right. Again, that's why I was like 95 degrees. Can you do that in Austria? No offense, Austrians. I've never been there. But it just feels like, more northerly, and Europe tends to stay cooler. You shouldn't be getting the temperatures we get here.
Right.
We're in something with the ocean currents that I totally learned in middle school and have totally forgotten since then about why it is that the East Coast has really frigid winters, but Europe doesn't. I forgot. I totally forgot. All I know is if that eastern current thing slows down, something terrible will happen.
Yeah. So it looks like the highest temperature was over 100. Trying to see if there's a date on that. This article was written in 2013.
Era, what the heck?
Yeah. Well, climate change.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's not clear for the passengers who got really rabid about deodorant if that was because I really need the deodorant right now, or I also want to know if this was a spray deodorant or a stick deodorant, because you kind of imagine stick deodorants would be cheaper.
But spray deodorant would be easier to share.
Right, exactly.
I'm not, I don't necessarily want to use the same deodorant as someone else. It's just put it in their sweaty pit.
Oh, I never imagined that they were sharing them. I thought it was just, hey, here's a deodorant, have at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
even a small sample size deodorant, or the ones you get for travel,
right? But
in the little travel section.
I hope so, because
now I'm wondering about the specifics of this deodorant, because if it was a spray one, I could kind of imagine some really not nice passengers being like, "Give me that so I can spray that person right now."
Right.
That that person specifically needs to be sprayed and they're refusing to come and get it, give me.
Maybe that's
I will
why
do
they
it.
were ripping it out of people's
Exactly,
hands.
right?
Yep.
Again, my mind is going off in strange story directions because
That's what it does.
this podcast is for, is
Absolutely.
to take it and run with it. That's what you do with...
It's like it was designed for people like me and Stacy who cannot keep on topic.
Yeah. Or designed by us. Also,
That too, maybe.
designed by and for the people who cannot keep on topic.
Exactly.
Yes. So on that note, we're going to take another short break. Stay tuned.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, continuing the story of rabid people wanting things.
Oh, dear.
I guess. Is that police were actually called to a Build-A-Bear sale
Yes, I heard
in
about this.
the UK. This is all sorts of amazing to me, and this is literally the plot of, is this not like that Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas movie? The one where he wants to get the toy for his son.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's that. It sounds like that. In that Build-A-Bear at multiple sites, although I don't know if police were called to multiple sites for this, but they were definitely called to at least one. But Build-A-Bear, the company, was offering a pay your age day.
Which is lovely.
I get the idea where parents could buy a teddy bear and pay the child's age in pounds. So if your child's 3, you only have to pay £3.
And I've never been to Build-A-Bear, but I think it's fairly, I mean, not like hugely pricey, but
Right.
like pricey enough, right?
Yeah, so I think I saw that the regular bear costs between like 10 and 14 pounds, and they can get up to 30 pounds or 40 pounds or something if you go for all the fancy features.
Right.
I built my half-sister one once, and I have no idea what it cost at the time because I didn't actually pay it because I was a child.
Right.
But yeah, Build-A-Bear, interesting. Just the idea of the stores when they first came out, I thought was really interesting. It was like, make your own teddy bear?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be fun, I guess. Just never done it.
Yeah, I haven't either. But, I mean, not for me, so it was hard picking. I was like, I don't know what she likes. I have no idea how to do this. I hate buying presents. Just a side note, really hate buying presents when I don't know what the person likes. It's just agonizing for me.
Yeah, it's hard. My husband is good at it. He's like, no, we'll just, he rattles off something. It's like, oh, that's lovely,
Right.
thoughtful. How do you do that?
Yeah, see, my brain immediately goes to gift card. And then I'm like, but I want, gift
know.
card's like the last resort. And I'm going to
then
look
I
last
start
resort.
second guessing and overthinking
Yeah.
and chastising myself. And
Yeah.
moving on.
Moving on. So anyways, because this was such a great deal, because again, if you have a young child, this is, very low percentage that you're paying. Like, again, if the regular's 10 and your child's 4, you're paying 40% of the price.
Yes.
And again, it goes up from 10, so you can only imagine. These lines were insane.
Now, do you know if the cost included, like, could you build a bear with all of the features you wanted, or was
I
that
highly
only the
doubt it.
basic price? Because I would think it would be only the basic price.
I assume it was the basic price, but I don't actually know.
Because
what.
if it was any bear you wanted to build with any accessory, that would just,
Yeah, that would be
crazy
crazy
talk.
But so anyways, the line at this, and it looks like they're in a mall, and I think most Build-A-Bears are in a mall. The line for this one store became over a mile long. Wow. And the wait time varied from between 5 to 9 hours.
And you're waiting with children.
Right? That is the thing that amazes me. I was like, is it really so worth it to save a few dollars to stand in that line with your under, 10 child for 9 hours?
Listening to them, I mean, and I honestly wouldn't blame them for whining about being bored. I mean,
But also, how do you feed them? How do you take them
they
to
go
the
to the
bathroom?
Yeah.
Because you got to trust, if you didn't come with like a group of friends, then you got to trust the person will let you back in line when you...
Or let your kid go by themselves, which
No, and especially in a mall, no. Just all sorts of like, what was the thought process here? But this was clearly, Build-A-Bear did not think they were going to get this huge of a response because they were not super prepared for it.
Right.
They didn't have like any extra security or whatever, and the regular security was feeling sort of overwhelmed and trying to keep the peace, because you can imagine standing in line for hours with young children. Tempers would get testy.
And sometimes adult people get cranky over the craziest thing. And so, I can just see them like shoving each other, or, well, you cut in line, or, just those crazy things that you hear about.
Like, it subconsciously becomes about something else and not about the bear.
Right.
But it actually becomes about, like, I don't know, your worth as a person or something if that person gets one and you don't.
Right.
So they actually had to call police to this to, control the crowd and keep them from going insane. And Build-A-Bear, at least at the one store, actually had to abandon the offer.
Oh, dear.
Which I feel really bad for the person who had to go out and announce that to the mile-long line. Like,
yeah.
So due to... Because you got to imagine, especially if the line is a mile long, they probably don't even have enough supplies.
Right.
To make all those bears.
I'm just thinking, I've been standing in line for X number of hours. I finally get to the front.
Right.
I'm like, maybe first, maybe third, whatever. And the person comes out and says, I'm sorry, we're not doing this anymore.
Right, yeah. So they changed it to, rather than pay the child's age, they handed out 12-pound vouchers. So the parents could come back on another day and buy the bear, and it would hopefully roughly work out to about the age price. But it's just like, it sounded like some stores canceled this and some stores still went on, but that might have been, based off of how crazy their crowds were.
Right.
I'm just now picturing, I cannot even picture a line like that at the local mall that has a Build-A-Bear, and I only know of one that actually has a Build-A-Bear. Because the line didn't even get that crazy back when that mall was super popular for, like, Santa at Christmas.
Right.
I'm just like, what? Like, a mile long, you would have that line going all the way down the mall and back up again, and then probably still need to, like, send people out into the street or something.
Yeah.
Just, what are you... And you're standing in line, so...
Right.
You can't really sit unless you happen to be like, near where the chairs are.
Or it's on the sidewalk, so maybe you can sit on the curb, but that's not exactly comfortable.
Yeah. I've never really lined up for anything other than like movies. When it was, you couldn't choose your seat. You had to first come, first serve. Then it was like, okay, for like the Harry Potters, I sat in line.
I've never been the one of those people that camps out or anything. And I know that people actually make that kind of an event and have friends and do stuff, and so it's fun for them. But I've never done it. Well,
and there were some people who did camp out because they interviewed someone who said that she showed up at like 8. And there was already a long line because people had camped out since like early in the morning or something.
Wow.
This is like the people who camp out for Black Friday. Like, I don't get it. I don't really care about shopping, period. But B, several of my family members worked retail for many years. Mm-hmm. So I just got to hear all the horror stories. And I'm just like, nope. No, I want to go. No, I always somehow end up going out on Black Friday, even though my plan is always to stay indoors. It's always like,
I never go out on Black Friday.
I need to go get whatever I forgot about, and I've got the day off. So
the only time I've ever gone out on Black Friday was when the first time I went to Ohio with my husband to meet my in-laws, and we actually needed to go pick something up that we forgot to pack. And it was Black Friday, but we didn't really think about it. We just ended up at Walmart on Black Friday.
Oh, fun!
But it was later, and everybody had come early. So
yeah. That's why I always feel okay, because it's like, oh, I'm going at like 1, 2 in the afternoon. Everyone who's crazy about Black Friday is gone. So I feel it feels like a regular holiday season shopping day.
Right.
I missed the craziness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just...
And I feel bad for the people who were working at Build-A-Bear that day because, they were just running around trying to deal with everybody who no doubt had a million complaints.
Yeah. Oh, and especially parents with young children, like... Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of, like, a worse customer with a complaint to have for that. I can't
even because people can be so ridiculously rude at those points.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. It didn't sound like anyone was really injured, thankfully. And there wasn't a riot when it was announced, we're stopping the whatever. Because hopefully in the same exact breath, we were like, we will give you a voucher. Please don't rush the store.
Don't hurt us.
It's like, you'll be fine. You can come back another day. You will not have to pay a whole lot of money for a teddy bear.
And I am not in charge here. Please do not hurt me for coming out here and telling you this.
This was not my decision. I'm just the messenger. Please don't, riot over the messenger.
Exactly.
Yes. But so, kind of strange, ridiculous story, but everything ended at semi-well.
Okay.
And I kind of feel bad for any child whose parent is, super upset that, that $15 bear now cost them, or that $20 bear now cost them $8 instead of the $3 they could have got if they paid. It's like, really?
Right.
I mean, pounds even. But really, that's what's, okay.
Yeah.
Priorities, people. And on that note,
on
the sigh, we're going to end for today. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast.